Nigel Snoad, ICT for Peace Foundation and Microsoft, on loan to OCHA, on the ground in the first few days doing information management in Haiti. Quick tour, a few simple rules. Rule 1, don't get separated from your bags, which probably means you shouldn't be there in the first place. Rule 2, sign up for GDAX. I didn't lose my bags, by the way. Sign up for GDAX. Realize that it only shows sudden onset disasters, which is missing most of the crises around the world. Rule 3, help load helicopters with food. They might give you a ride. It's great. Realize that people are mostly using paper. Wonder why? It's because you have to always program for the lowest common denominator when your technology is not going to be there, no matter how good your systems might be. Go out on assessments. Realize, yet again, that mobile data collection sucks and never works. No system will ever be the one you practiced on, the one you loaded. Assessments are never the same. Remember the Iraq Rapid Assessment for anyone who was there. Go to meetings. Realize that this is where all the information sharing actually happens. Wonder what happens for those people who don't speak English, who don't happen to be there on the ground in the right place, who can't access the compound. Get a hold of a contact list. Realize that this is the help desk. Your only way to get assistance for medicines is, in many cases, to email the cluster lead. Pity the cluster lead, but pity the person who has to do it. Pity the people who have to build the contact list. A classic thing that needs help from the cloud. Go to reception, register. Realize that this is, again, another physical space that's critical for people sharing information, understanding what's going on. Realize that, again, most people can't access that because of where it is. Get out, have a look around. This is 2 days after the earthquake. The markets are operating. Again, local populations helping themselves. The question is, how can you empower them? Again, the food costs 10 times normal, which means it's poverty. Poor people can't access it. Get a map. Realize that not all maps are created equal. Realize that design, as always, matters. Who is the audience when you're making something? This map is great at A0. It sucks printed out black and white. How many of these have I seen over the years? Realize you'll never be able to check your email. Not completely. This is the inbox for the UNDAC team. The thousands upon thousands of messages. This is not even search and rescue messages. This is everything else. Contacts, everything. Again, a task that is begging for being crowdsourced in a broader way. Right? Realize that you shouldn't go on search and rescue missions if you can possibly avoid it. Right? Not the least because it's traumatic. It's interesting from a technical perspective. Lots of great things there. But again, most search and rescue is done by local populations, not by expensive foreigners. Get the SITREP. This is the gold, the OCHA one or your organization's one. Realize that no matter how many maps you make, unfortunately, most decisions are made by SITREPs and verbal briefings. We haven't closed the decision data cycle. Look at the official website. Realize that it's missing some critical data. Why is that? People have good intentions. They just don't have time to share, or maybe that's not the vehicle of choice. So how on earth do you get a bigger picture? You sign up for brand spanking new magical services like 4636, which give you information or allow you to submit it. It's fantastic. But then you wonder, will it be there next time? Will it be in Darfur? What happens for my number when the government of Iran gets it? Look at Ushahidi and wonder, how are we making prioritization decisions? Right? This is the data. Again, closing the decision cycle isn't what happens. Realize that I didn't look at this once the entire time I was in Haiti. I didn't even look at the ICT for Peace wiki, even though it's a phenomenal piece of curated work. Actually, I lie, I looked at it once because I was completely overwhelmed. But again, the aggregation work is absolutely critical as the volume of information expands, and that can only be done by the crowd. This is a takeoff of a map a couple of people have published. It's always been like this. Government, UN, NGOs, community, volunteers, etc. It's always been like this. So the question is, how do you get some kind of coherence out of it? There are some strategies. They're the same ones we've been trying for years. We've just got to double down on them. We need to understand our shared goals. We need shared standards, codes of conduct, whatever the community is, it needs to happen. Right? And ultimately, we need shared information. This, I think, is one of the saving graces that we haven't figured out how to tap properly yet. The diaspora, the crowd, turking, tasking, whatever you do. But again, there won't be one place and one system. Tools like this have been around for ages, but we haven't figured it out. And realize that this is a photo of me in Aceh, that the information overload is completely overwhelming for people on the ground and making decisions. In this spot here, I put my phone down for 30 minutes while meeting a minister, had 58 missed phone calls. It's like that all the time on the ground. So it's not enough to say the information's there. The analysis step is what we're figuring out how to do. Thank you.